Alright guys, we're looking at your final today. So steps 1 through 6. So let's take a look-see at step 1. Step 1, you have the instructions and overview. So your job is to write a narrative. We read about the world's demise in our section. We read about the responses to catastrophic disasters, real and fictional. And as you know, each story teaches us something new about the world and about ourselves. So our assignment is to write a 400 to 600 word short story in which you develop a theme related to the following question. This is very similar to your midterm, so if you did that, this should be fun for you. Which matters more, the present or the future? So you're focusing your story around this theme, around this idea. So first, you'll introduce the main character and a situation or problem and establish the narrator's point of view. Then you'll create a sequence of events in which you show how the characters address the situation or problem in an innovative way. Be sure that your conclusion provides a logical and meaningful resolution to the conflict. As you write your narrative, use a variety of techniques and descriptive language to depict the setting, events, and characters. You'll need to incorporate ideas from the texts in this unit to help develop the details in your story. Now, this is just a video overview, so I do expect you to read these instructions on your own as well. So to see the rest of the elements of a narrative and the key pieces that we included from our midterm, please read through those. Your main idea here is this 400 to 600 word short story to develop an idea on the theme, which matters more, the present or the future. So, step 2 is your story startup. You are going to answer questions 1 through 5 to be able to then answer question 6. This is very similar to what we did with the midterm. You'll answer who are the characters, where and when do the events take place, what are the characters trying to achieve, what obstacles do they have to overcome, what happens in the end, and then you'll actually start the story for number 6. So number 6 is literally the story start. So when you do your story startup, please use one of these 5 strategies. Each one of these is a good strategy and has an example beneath. Please read through those on your own time to see those strategies. Many of you last time did a really great job of beginning with action, sound, or dialogue. And some people started with a little bit of background information. And those were really good strategies. So keep those in mind as you go. Here's an example right here. Who are the characters? A homeless teen and 2 homeless men. Where and when do the events take place? In winter, in Lincoln Park, in Greeley, at dusk. What are the characters trying to achieve? The teen is trying to find a place to stay that night. What obstacles will they have to overcome? The teen has to decide what's more dangerous, the strangers or not having a plan. And in the end, she's going to choose the strangers, and her future is unclear. And then this is the first 3 to 5 sentences of the story. This one starts out with dialogue. "Holy crap, that wind is brutal," Steen said, turning her back to the icy blast. The winter had been an exceptionally cold one. Usually the snow melted just days after a storm in the Colorado sunshine, but the snow remained on the ground and had covered the streets and shady sides of buildings since Thanksgiving, 4 months ago. "You can warm yourself with this coffee if you want," said a voice just off to her left. So, this is what your response should look like, and you'll post that in the comment section with 1 through 6. That's step 2, a story startup. Step 3 is where you're going to organize your narrative. You're actually going to follow the instructions here to come up with an entire outline for your narrative, which is here, the plan handout. You're welcome to look at the plan example here and see a filled out one for that story that was just started in step 2. This just helps you to plan out more specifics so that you are actually planning your story before you write. I know a lot of you in your midterm just dove right in, which was fun. And it wasn't until you wrote your rough draft that you realized you weren't sure where you were going. And that makes it hard when you're writing such a short story as we are with only 400 to 600 words. So use this time and this assignment to organize your narrative. You will, again, fill out this handout and then you'll submit it here. Step 4 then is your rough draft. When you finish your rough draft, you're going to want to share it with Carolyn. And using that blue button, you'll share right away. Here's your narrative. You'll submit for 50 points. And then lastly, we move on to the peer edit. You guys are familiar with that. You're going to answer the same 4 comments, reading somebody else's rough draft. For those of you who are fully online, if you cannot find a partner to do this with, you are welcome to fill out these 4 comments for your own essay. Narrative. So 1 through 4 for your own is fine. The goal, of course, is to have a peer to edit, so you learn from what they've written, and they learn from what the feedback you give them. But if you're online and you only have the option to read your own, please follow the instructions for that. So 1, you will comment on the strengths. What did they do well? 2, you'll write comments on where they can improve. 3, you'll highlight good dialogue. And then 4, you'll underline great sensory details. So here's an example here with the comment of a strength, comment of a weakness, and then you've got highlighted good dialogue and underlined sensory details. All right, once you finish your peer edit rough draft, that leads you to your final draft. You'll take the information from your peers, and about that, you will make sure that you use everything from your peer edits from the day before, as well as information from your rough draft to make your final draft excellent, and following everything that you need to be able to have each of these effective narrative points. So if you want to read another example, you've got Dreams Winter here. If you want to read an example written for this class on this topic, down here there's an example narrative at the bottom of your rough draft assignment. So that example narrative should open up. And this one's about that teen who was in the first few steps that were described. So that's it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email Carolyn. That's the final. Hopefully that all makes sense. All right, good luck.